Today is Wednesday, April 2nd, and today we're going to be talking about Fort Wilderness. I've been wanting to do this video for so long and kind of explain why we love Fort Wilderness so much. I think part of it has to do with the fact that it opened in 1971, which is right a month after Magic Kingdom opened, really. I mean, Magic Kingdom opened in October, when Fort Wilderness was November. So yeah, a month later. So that pure Disney is alive in Fort Wilderness, which is one of the reasons that it's so amazing. But also there's just so much to do there. We have spent 3 nights there, 4 days, and still not done it all. On top of that, the community that's there, it is such a tight-knit community. There's Facebook groups for it. And then when you're driving around, the campers, the people that come year after year, they come for the same week every year. And it's just people become family there. And you can really feel it when you're driving around and, you're talking to people and meeting new people. And it's amazing. I think that's the thing that I love most about Fort Wilderness is the community feeling at Disney. I'm not a huge camper by nature. I'm a glamper for sure. We used to go to Fort Wilderness for the cabin, the original cabins when they were there, which I think there's still a few there, but they're limited now. Now it's the modern DVC ones. But way back when they had the original ones, we would go every year for my son's birthday. That was our thing. We would go for 2 or 3 nights every April and stay at a cabin. And then we would invite people over and that would be where his birthday party was. We would go see Hoop-Dee-Doo Review every year. And this is all pre-COVID. So we haven't done that since COVID. But we never really stayed in a tent because I'm not a camper. But we, little side story, we got into camping because we've had this tent for a while. I don't even remember why we got it. Anyway, I don't remember why we had the tent, but we have a tent. And we love going to Key West. That's our favorite vacation spot. And then I found tent camping spots in Key West for pretty cheap. I think it was $120 a night or something, just outside Key West proper. It's called Boyd's Campground. And we were we have a tent. We could do that. So we, I don't even think we set up at Fort Wilderness first. We set up at Boyd's with this tent first. And it was a tent we'd have for years, for whatever reason. And we sprayed it down with weatherproofing and everything. And then we found out it was supposed to storm when we went. And that tent got flooded. So again, a story for another day, I think. And even though it got flooded and we ended up sleeping in the car, we still loved camping on the beach. It was great. So then I looked up tent sites at Fort Wilderness, because it's really hard to come by those cabins now, the original ones especially, but even the modern ones. I don't really have a desire to stay in the modern ones. I miss the old ones. So we looked up tent camping sites and found decent rates for them. So we're let's just try it. And we tried it just for 2 nights, and it was amazing. You can take the rain fly off and you can look at the sky and look at the trees, and then the people around you, the kids were making friends, they were playing games, there was chalk, people had chalk art and stuff. So camping itself at Fort Wilderness is amazing. So really, we have loved Fort Wilderness since even before the kids were born. Dennis remembers going there when he was a kid, and he would stay there, and he remembers riding his bike around the campground. So it's really just been a family thing for a really long time. So we have these great family memories. I mean, really, there's just so much to do at Fort Wilderness. We have done almost everything. The kids are finally old enough to do the archery, so we'll probably do that next time we go. But we have done the kayaking. We've done the s'mores and the marshmallows with Chip and Dale at the sing-along. They show a movie under the stars. You can rent bikes there still. I mean, same as when he was a kid. We've done the renting a fishing pole to take the kids fishing for the first time. You can ride ponies and horses for the adults. There's horse-drawn carriages. There's the Hoop-Dee-Doo Review, which I mentioned a little bit, but that's a fantastic show. If you've not been to that, that is a must go to. It's a sing-along but comedy, and it's a stage, a dinner show while you're eating, and it's all you care to enjoy, down home country cooking with the fried chicken. It's so good. We would go to that every year. And then you've got like the 2 stores that has all the conveniences, everything you need for staying in the cabin or the tenting. The best part is the golf carts. Like if you go, you've got to rent a golf cart. There were lots of times that we weren't even staying at Fort Wilderness. So like pre-COVID, you can rent the golf carts without staying there. So we would go, especially during the holidays, to go look at all the decorations, because these people go all out for the holidays. And you would rent a golf cart and you would drive around, you would look at all the decorations, and it made for a fantastic evening. But since COVID, they've taken away the ability to rent the golf carts if you're not staying there. So, which is, I get it, because otherwise you just have so many people and there's not enough golf carts for the people staying there. And yeah, so, I mean, I agree with it. But if you go and you stay there, a golf cart is a must, because the place, not only is the place huge, but it really adds to like that relaxed feeling. Like you can only go a certain speed in the golf carts. It makes you slow down, which is the other reason we love Key West too, is because you have to go slow. Like in such a fast-paced world, having to slow down, it really is like amazing. And then people decorate their golf carts and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see what people come up with. So we love that about Fort Wilderness too. So with the golf carts, and then obviously the cooking out. So they have grills at each of the tent and the cabin sites, so that you can grill your food and cook or eat on the picnic table, and then just like get that real camping experience without having to be like truly in the wilderness, which is why I love it. I don't know if I would actually go camping in like a state park or a national park. I don't know. I think Fort Wilderness is a good like gateway to that, good segue, because it is right next to restrooms. The restrooms are really well taken care of. They have everything you need at the convenience stores, so it's perfect. And then of course you've got the s'mores and Chip and Dale and the golf carts, everything else that makes Fort Wilderness amazing. At the pool area, they have like this really cool slide that the kids go down like 30 times every night when we're there. And then they have the games there. They have is it shuffleboard? I don't know, on the ground where you have like the sticks. The kids play that every time. Ping pong, pool. They have all these games there at the pool. Of course, they have a couple playgrounds for the kids too, to let them get their energy out. They have different activities all the time for the kids. So my kids have done the tie-dye shirts there, and they've done the make your own bracelets, which is cool. And then it gives like a nice memory too for years to come, really. I mean, they still have their shirts and their bracelets that they've made there. They have Tri-Circle D Ranch, which is where the horses are. They have ponies for like the little kids to ride. There's something for everyone, which I think is why I fell in love with it in the first place. And then as the kids are getting older and being able to do new and more things, so they have like a Segway tour. And then I think as soon as the kids are older, I'm going to take them on like the actual like big horse ride where you go on like a 45-minute like trail around Fort Wilderness out with like a guide, and it's so cool. So I touched on holidays there a little bit. When I say that these people go all out, I mean like this is a thing for them. Some will come for like weeks at a time and they'll set up. I know we went 2 weeks back to back. We went for 2 nights one week and then 3 nights the next week. And the same campers were there with like the same Halloween setup. So we were able to see like they had like the dancing skeletons and stuff. So my kids loved it. Every time we went by, they had to hit the button and it was amazing. And then during Halloween time, they put on like the campers put on like a trick-or-treating thing, even like around Halloween. So even if you can't get there on Halloween, there's trick-or-treating every night for like all of October. We went for 2 nights, I think, in October, maybe 3, I don't even know. We took our Halloween costumes. It was like mid-October, and we were able to go trick-or-treating with all the other kids. And most campsites like just have bowls of candy sitting out for the kids. You could put them out, and it's so fun. And then for Christmas time, they've got stockings set up. Like stocking stuffing is a thing. Stocking stuffing, stuffing stockings is a thing at Fort Wilderness. Like you hang up stockings at your tent site or your cabin site, and then people drive around with gifts and just like stuff your stockings. And then when you come back after a day at the parks or whatever you're doing, a day at the pool, you come back and the kids, they've got like stuff in their stockings, and it's really cute. And it's like all of November and December they celebrate for months. It's amazing. So Fort Wilderness will always have a special place in our heart, honestly, just because of all the firsts that the kids have had there. Like, it was their first time kayaking, their first time on horses / ponies. It was their first time with s'mores. It was their first time tent camping, riding on a golf cart. I think cooking on a grill, maybe. I mean, I've got one at home, but I honestly never pull it out. So, I mean, this is probably it. It was their first time fishing. They'd been talking about fishing for so long. And then finally, a couple months ago when we went, we rented some fishing poles and we got some bait, wigglers, and we tried fishing. And we all kind of realized pretty quickly that fishing is not for us. Our family does not like fishing. We like looking at the fish in the water. But then, like, hooking them and stuff, personally, I don't like it because those fish are just minding their own business. They're going about their day, swimming along with their family. And then they see food, and then they get hooked, and then they're pulled out of the water. And I don't like it. So it is, Fort Wilderness is a catch and release thing. Like, you can't keep the fish, you throw them back in. But, like, now they have a giant hole in their mouth. What? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't like it. But the kids wanted to try it, so we gave it a try one time. And it was at Fort Wilderness, which is amazing. So the big thing, the major thing at Fort Wilderness, and I know I keep saying it's my favorite thing. I have lots of favorites at Fort Wilderness. But, like, the main thing that we do when we go there is scavenger hunts. Now, this is not Disney sanctioned or anything. This is strictly, like, community built. There's a Facebook group for Fort Wilderness scavenger hunts. And it's basically when you're there, you can hide and find things. So we brought a whole bunch of stuff to hide last time. Like, we brought keychains and stickers and decals and I think a couple random things too that we got, like, from the Dollar Tree. Oh yeah, we brought like a Tonka truck thing that we brought to hide. And so what you do is you go find somewhere nice to hide it, and it has to be like somewhere accessible. So, like, we hid ours mostly, like, around playgrounds and stuff, or, like, behind a trash can, or there's lots of fun places that you can hide it. We hid one inside of, like, a locker. That was a really good one. And you take a picture, like, just of, like, the item, just to give, like, enough clue to where people could go search for it, right? So then you take this picture, you post it in the group, and then someone goes to find it. And we have found so many amazing things. And it's so fun to, like, watch people, because you'll see, if you stick around, like, you can see after you post it, you'll see people come to find your things and how excited it makes them. And then when people see you out and about, like, searching for things or hiding things, then you can be like, hey, did you know about this group? And you get other people to join in too. So it just kind of, like, escalates the happiness, and it's great. I don't know, it's such a nice feeling. So really, I love staying in the cabins or the tents, but I think the tents bring you kind of, like, back to nature. Like, if you love tent camping, then this is, like, a great place for that. And if you don't love tent camping, then it's a great place to kind of get you started and, like, get your feet wet with the tent camping, because it is Disney and they do have, like, mosquito control and bug control. And, I'm not as worried about critters or animals, like, we did see vultures. I think it was vultures or turkeys attacking, a tent next to us. Like, they were gone for the day and they left all their food out on the table, like, just sitting on the picnic table, like, things of bread and chips and soda and a whole bunch of stuff just on the table. And I think it was vultures, and we have, like, a picture of it, I think. But they came and they just, like, got into everything. So if you leave stuff out, obviously animals are going to get to it. It is still Fort Wilderness, like, it's still animals, so you got to be smart about it. But I'm not worried about bears coming to the tent. We still, for, like, insects and stuff, we'll keep everything in the car. So if you don't rent the golf cart, you can definitely bring your bikes, ride bikes around. One thing to note is that they don't allow electric bikes or electric scooters, because basically a few people ruined it for everyone and they were just, like, not behaving very well. So then they, like, stopped it for everyone. We brought our e-bike one time and we learned pretty quick that we're not supposed to have it. Some people will let it slide sometimes, but you're not supposed to. So just keep that in mind when you go. You can use your bikes to get around. There's also an internal bus shuttle to bring you between, like, the front and the back and the bus loops and everything. So if you need to get around, you can use that. But honestly, the golf carts, I think it's $70 a night, maybe 75. But for $70 a night, you rent the golf cart, and then it's, man, it just adds to that feeling when you're just driving around through the open air with the trees and the people and the animals, the dogs. And I cannot tell you how many times we've seen deer and turkey on the side, and we just kind of like pull the golf cart over and take the pictures. And, you know, it's amazing. You can also take a horse-drawn carriage or a wagon ride. There's certain nights of the week that they do those. So if you're going to go stay there, make sure you check which nights they're available for you. But the kids usually like those. And then, of course, you cannot miss the campfire and the sing-along with Chip and Dale. So the campfire always happens at the meadow, which is where the bike barn is, and there's gem mining too, and then there's the pool, and there's like the kids' splash area too, which is really good for the younger kids. My kids loved it when they were babies. So all of that's there. There's a little playground there. That's where like the shuffleboard and the ping pong and everything, that's where like all the things are for the kids. And that's where the campfire and the sing-along is, and the movie Under the Stars. So when you get there, you know, they always do it. It changes the time based on the sun setting and stuff. So check the times before you go. But when you get there, they have the guy that does like the sing along, and he tells some jokes and gets the involvement from the audience. And then Chip and Dale come out, and then they do like the hokey pokey and stuff with the whole group, and the kids love it. And then they light the campfires, and then they play the movie Under the Stars. When we were there, it was Monsters Inc. So you're able to buy a s'more kit, either like from the truck right there, or you can do it from the Meadow Trading Post, which is just a short walk from the campfire, or you can bring your own stuff, which is what we usually do. So you can toast your marshmallows, eat your s'mores while you're watching the movie, and it makes for a beautiful night. And then at the settlement, which I call the back, it depends, it changes based on who you talk to, but for me, it's the back of Fort Wilderness. And from there, that's where you can catch the bus over to the Magic Kingdom. You can sit on the beach and watch the fireworks that are going on at Magic Kingdom, or you can go to Hoop to Do Review, or I think it's called PJ's Tavern now, and Davy Crockett's Bar, Crockett's Tavern, and there's an arcade over there too. And then there's another arcade back at the Meadow. So there's two arcades. The one at the back by Davy Crockett's, that one's a lot smaller. The one is a little bit bigger at the Meadow. But anyway, to wrap things up, there is so much to do, and I love Fort Wilderness so much. And if I could stay there for a week at a time, I would. But we break it up into like 2 or 3 night chunks. That way we can do it like more frequently, because camping, like laying in a tent, sleeping on a air mattress for that long is just like not ideal. I will say after our tent got rained out in Key West, we bought a new one. It's an 8-person Magellan 8-person tent. And it's got like a little screen porch up front that honestly we have not used. So if I were to repurchase a tent, I would just get like extra square footage for like inside the tent. So we could maybe have 2 air mattresses. That I think would be more ideal, because the screen room is great in theory, but I could never get the bottom to like seal properly on the ground. So there's always ways for bugs to get in. And then it's just kind of too small for all of us to sit in and eat. I think at most Sammy has sat in it to read a book while we sit outside to eat. I don't know. I wouldn't do the screen room again. It's great in theory. Maybe like a separate pop-up screen room. I've seen those where it's like a standalone, like pretty big one where you can eat in. I would maybe do that. But anyway, we have this tent now, and our setup, I love it. So we have the air mattress like all the way in the back of the tent. And then we have like a living room almost, where we have like a plastic carpet that we have set up. That way when we walk in, we can have somewhere for the dirt to collect. And then we lay a towel over it so we can wipe our feet on it. And then we have our cooler up against the back over there, as well as the lanterns, so that when we come back at night, we can easily pop those open. And then we keep our shoes like right when you walk in the door to the right. So you take your shoes off, and then you can kind of wipe your feet if you need to, and then you can get in bed. And then the other awesome thing about Fort Wilderness is the washers and dryers there. I just utilized this on our last stay, and I'm going to use it every time I go now because it's like $2 or $3 and you can wash all your stuff from the trip while you're packing up the tent for the day. On your last day, you wash all your stuff and then everything's like clean when you go home. Because that's the worst part of vacation for me, is coming home, unpacking, and then having all this laundry to do. So you can minimize that a little bit. So I have a lot of favorite Disney resorts, but Disney's Fort Wilderness definitely is the top of the list. Like if I had to pick one resort to stay at for the rest of my life, like if I could only choose one, that if I'm going to stay at Disney, this is the one, it would be Fort Wilderness. I think my second one would be Disney's Vero Beach, if that counts. I mean, it's not like on Disney World proper. It's like an hour, 2-hour drive, but that would be my second one only because the beach is right there, and that'll be another video. But Fort Wilderness is definitely my top. So much to do. You can get to all the parks. It's just a slow, relaxing vibe, and you don't want to leave like when you're there. So that's always a good sign when you're sad to leave. Last time we stayed, we booked 2 nights, and then after we got the tent all set up and stuff and we drove around the golf cart for the first time of that stay, I went straight to the front desk and I was like, can we add a night? Because I don't want to leave. And we did. So we ended up staying for 3 nights. I think that's ideal for tent camping because you have to set up the tent and take down the tent. So if you can stay for 3 nights, you get the most bang for your buck pretty much for setting up and taking down. If you're going just for 1 night, probably the cabin, so you don't have to worry about setting up your room. It's just ready when you get there. I really hope this video was helpful for you. If you were thinking about Fort Wilderness, or if you weren't sure, you just needed like a little more convincing, or maybe Fort Wilderness is your favorite too, and you just wanted to like connect with someone who also loves it, who understands that feeling, because not everyone gets it. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it. So thank you so much for joining me on this little like rave for Disney's Fort Wilderness. I really enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it also, I would love if you could like and subscribe because I'm loving watching those numbers go up all the time. And let me know in the comments below what your favorite part of Fort Wilderness is, or if you've never been, the thing you're looking forward to the most. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow.